Wife 33F finally admitted to cheating on me 36M. Now what? Story 1. 6 years ago, I caught her lying about spending time with an ex-boyfriend. At the time, I was temporarily disabled by a severe injury and awaiting my workers' compensation claim to be processed. It eventually was, resulting in surgery, physical therapy, and a cash settlement, but the process took over 2 years to resolve. I was stuck at home, in chronic pain, and doubtless difficult to live with. She had recently reconnected with some old friends, and began hanging out with an ex-boyfriend. I told her point blank that it made me uncomfortable, and she accused me of being jealous and controlling. She began to complain to her friends that I was trying to keep her from spending time with this man, and they became hostile to me. I remained uncomfortable, but I tried to let it go. I began to notice my wife coming home with things that we could not afford, and she always had a ready excuse. Again, I was accused of paranoia, and I let it go. She dared me to go through her phone if I thought she was lying, which I thought would make me as intrusive and controlling as she claimed, so I refused. The warning signs kept coming. One day, she left her phone at home, and remembering how she had asked me to look at it to prove her innocence, I decided I would actually look. It was absolutely full of incriminating text messages. She and the ex-boyfriend were seeing one another daily. He was giving her rides to work in his car while she was telling me she rode the bus. They took a day trip up to the city together. One text from him even said "I love you," although there was no response in kind from her. I packed my things up and got ready to leave. I decided to confront her first, and waited until she came home. She walked in the front door and immediately realized what was up. I explained that I had looked at her phone and found evidence that she had lied to me. She admitted to being emotionally involved, but adamantly denied having a sexual relationship with him. I didn't believe her, but I had no proof. We talked for hours, and she convinced me that she was ashamed of her actions and had only looked for attention because I was so miserable all the time due to my injury. I didn't leave. Over the years since then, we have worked hard to build a life together. With the help of me working full-time and devoting most of my injury settlement to moving and school expenses, she finished her degree and started a career. It hasn't always been easy, and there have been points where I found it difficult to trust her. On occasion, she has thrown it back at me, demanding to know how long I am going to let one mistake undermine my trust. 2 or 3 times, I asked again if she had truly come clean about her affair, and she vehemently denied having done anything physical. Which brings us to this week. One of her friends who had accused me of paranoia was briefly the subject of discussion, and it led me to think about that time in our lives. Some specific contradictions were bothering me, and doubt was keeping me awake at night. I decided to share my feelings with my wife, if only to explain what was bothering me. This time, as I broke it down and explained what exactly was eating at me, she came clean. She had a sexual affair with the ex-BF. She was unhappy at home and his attention made her feel good. He bought her nice things. She said she had flirted a bit too much with some other people and even pursued them, but never had any other actual affairs. She claimed that all of this ended when she was caught, and that she has not had another affair since then. I wasn't angry. I wasn't surprised. I was just hurt. This was hardly a revelation. I had known even though I hadn't known it was the reason I asked again every few years. Now I don't know what to do. My wife is the same person she was last week, when I essentially knew she had cheated on me years ago, only now she has come clean. I adore her. I can even see myself putting this behind me and moving on. But I have some major concerns, and they are all potential deal breakers. 1. I know exactly what I would tell a friend if they were in my situation. No matter how much I love this woman, the person I made plans to spend the rest of my life with, my brain tells me to GTFO now. 1. If I stay, I do not know if my trust can ever be rebuilt. She didn't just cheat on me, she didn't just accuse me of paranoia for suspecting the truth, she continued to lie for 6 more years after being caught. She questioned my trust while continuing to lie to me time and time again. 1. We had planned on having children when the time was right, but I do not want to bring a child into this situation right now. Her window of opportunity to have children is limited, and if we spend the next 6 years trying to make our marriage work only to fail, it will be all but too late for her to have another shot at a family with someone else. 1. I would be foolish to take her word that this was the only time. I guess it seems so simple when I lay it out like this. Maybe I am hoping that someone can provide me with pros to staying, because right now all I see is a long list of cons. Maybe I just need a kick in the ass. Now what? Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, she cheated on you, lied to your face multiple times for years, gaslighted you, and broke your trust. She stabbed you in the back at one of your lowest points instead of coming to you in honesty with her struggles. In my opinion, adoring someone isn't a reason to ignore all of this. You already know the list of cons is a long one, and you already know what you want to do, you just haven't committed to it yet. Be strong, you deserve better. Redditor 2, I think you should call in a counselor on this one. The stuff you're weighing is all valid, and it's worth sorting through it with the help of an actual pro. If your wife genuinely regrets her actions and is committed to fixing whatever can be fixed, she should agree to that course of action. Redditor 3, she took advantage of your vulnerability in a time that you needed her, then when you questioned her about it she called you crazy and paranoid. This is not behavior that can be forgotten over time. She lied to you for years. If anything, this should be a sure thing to break up with her. Redditor 4, it wasn't just one lie or one mistake, it was hundreds. Every time she texted him, accepted a ride, had sex, received gifts and then comes home to you is a lie. And for a bonus has her friends join in on what an asshole you are. And when she finally comes clean she has the balls to blame you because you were hurt. Duck that. For better or worse my ass. This woman is all about herself, 100%. This person does not have your back. Story 2. My priest told my husband I cheated. A few years ago I screwed up and cheated on my husband. I got caught, admitted it, and ended all communication with that person. It's been rocky to say the least, and every day he still looks at me like it just happened. He says he's depressed and dealing with PTSD from it. He says he's forgiven me but lives with the fact that he hates having to come home to see me every day, that he thinks about the affair every single day. He's been a controlling and narcissistic with lots of gaslighting which attributed to why I cheated. It doesn't give me the right, but that was the source of my pain. I've amended my life, thanks be to God, He is a forgiving God. My husband doesn't believe the change in me and thinks it's a show. Now after all of this that happened, he said he knows that I've had time with other men when indeed I have not. After all this time he's bowing, saying he knows him, lying since he went to a priest friend for counsel soon after finding out, and when my husband told him he was certain I had cheated, the priest apparently told him that I had actually cheated on him with other men as well. The only affair I had was the one that my husband knows of. I never told this priest that I had an affair, and if he did tell my husband, he'd be breaking the law of confidence. I've known this priest for many years, and he's known of my past, even before I married my husband, so I don't know if the priest was reflecting on my past or if my husband was lying in order to trick me to confess to something. Now my husband feels that he can't trust me even more and is avoiding me at all costs. The situation that makes this even harder is that this priest, who was an amazing and holy priest, has since died. He'll be taking to another priest soon, but I feel like no matter what now, there is no hope for our marriage to heal. Feeling continuously anxious and confused. Redditor's reactions. Redditor 1, after all this time he's bowing, saying he knows him, lying since he went to a priest friend for counsel soon after finding out, and when my husband told him he was certain I had cheated, the priest apparently told him that I had actually cheated on him with other men as well. The only affair I had was the one that my husband knows of. I never told this priest that I had an affair, and if he did tell my husband, he'd be breaking the law of confidence. I've known this priest for many years, and he's known of my past, even before I married my husband, so I don't know if the priest was reflecting on my past or if my husband was lying in order to trick me to confess to something. I would go with the husband is lying answer, honestly. Redditor 2, I am praying for both of you. I hope you can speak with another priest soon. Not much advice to offer, but you have my prayers, sister. Redditor 3, counseling.